Well, hey guys, we are here to introduce Authorlink Books N Flix. And you know, what you don't know might hurt you. And we want to bring you some new insights into big data for small publishers and creatives. I've been an editor, agent, journalist for more than 25 years. I've sold projects both domestically and internationally. And I've been involved in content negotiations with film studios, including a hit Netflix docuseries. For a long time, I've noticed, and I'm sure a lot of other people have too, that publishing and filmmaking has a big data problem. Our creative industries just lack the granular level data beyond general marketing trends and sales, and we lack the historical timeline to help us spot trends, and there doesn't seem to be much connection between publishing data and movie data. So what we've done is to start working to solve these problems by merging a bunch of release titles into a single platform, and by serving as sort of a cleanup crew, because we've discovered that there are many inconsistencies and duplicates in a lot of these programs that we are now bringing together in a merged database. And what that is going to result in is a new way to look at book and movie information we've never been able to find before. So we want you to be able to find some cool answers that you couldn't spot before, all in one place and at a glance. Well, what's Books N Flix? We have assembled 400,000 movies and 20 million books into a single database. It's a data-driven book and movie research platform for creatives and for industry pros. And I will say right up front that we are still ingesting millions of titles into this database, this single database. So the results that you will see today will not be fully fleshed out, but you'll be able to see exactly what the program can do. The heart of our program, our platform, is a single page. That's just a single, simple page. Before we dive deeper into the program, I'd like for you to meet our team leaders. Benjamin Latham is Authorlink webmaster and project partner. He's had a lifelong love affair with movies and books, and he's right here behind me. And he's majored in film at Southern Methodist University. He served for 8 years as webmaster for complex product and media sites. Hey, Ben.
Morning.
All right. Robert Andy is with JMR Digital Solutions. He's the owner of JMR, and he provided project and technical support to this project. He holds MBA and engineering degrees. He's been in the publishing industry for 15 long years, and he offers digital solutions for companies in the US, Canada, and elsewhere. Hey, Robert, I hope you can hear us, and I hope that everyone can hear you. Hello. All right. Let's look at some cool ways that Books N Flix finds answers for you. We'll be demonstrating this through this program. What I'll start with, let's say that you might want to know how many thrillers have been published, made into movies during a certain period of time, and you might also want to know who in fact wrote those books. So the first thing that I'll do is just toggle on books to movies here. And then I will scroll down to the category or the genre and type in thriller, or select thriller. We'll type in some dates. These can be any dates that you want. And instantly you will see books made into movies right here. And then there are the movies. And then we'll refine that search by choosing authors here and the number of books by those authors during that time period. And right here, you'll see Lee Child and Eggers and all the others. And as this database fleshes out, you will see more and more detail. So let's see if we search by publisher, or this could be by studio, which Ben will show you later. In what years or months has a specific publisher been most active or least active? And can we graph that? Well, let's use Random House as our example. And right here, we are simply going to choose books. Is that playing? There we go. And right here, I will just type in Random House. Remember that I typed that before, and put in the dates that I'm interested in and hit submit. And you will see all the books released by Random House during that period of time, and it'll total everything right here. And then we'll go on down and refine our search by the number of books so that we can see it graphically. And that is very helpful to our understanding because we can see the peaks and valleys very readily. Moving on, I can also cross-reference. Let's say, how active has a specific publisher been in a specific category? Let's use HarperCollins output by title and see what we get. Again, I'm clicking books. And I will type in the publisher's name, HarperCollins. And I will insert my dates. In the first round, in the genre, I'll type thriller, or select thriller, by the way. There it is, thriller. There you go, and submit. And up comes the list of the thriller books that they published during this period. And again, it's total for you. But without ever leaving this page, we can just go back up and choose another category. And there are a lot of categories here. So let's try history next. And submit. And here you go. Here are all the history books that HarperCollins released during that time period. Again, once this is filled out, you will see so many titles. You'll see hundreds of pages of titles. Now we're going to go back up and hit another third category so that we can compare how active Harper was in each category. And this time we'll choose sci-fi. And again, it's going to total. So you can see from these searches in a very quick time frame how active HarperCollins was in those various categories. Useful for you when you maybe want to target them for one category or another. How did we do this? Well, what we've done is we've merged some publicly available data and also some permissioned data from sources that you really do trust, like Bowker, the movie database, Wikidata, Open Library, and others. Who can use this? Well, we think that literary and film agents should be able to get a different level of information when they're considering acquisitions, when they're considering representation, and publishers can do the same when they're considering acquisitions. And of course, authors can also use this as a way of telling maybe where they want to target their manuscripts when they're submitting. Screenwriters too, and book lovers too. If you're just a book lover, that's okay. You can get a lot of information. Well, why do you need BookFlix? Because you need more comparative information to spot trends and patterns and to make better buying decisions and acquisition decisions. And you need that in an uncluttered historical environment. You need an inexpensive platform that's up to date, measurable, and clean. Well, why don't we just do a Google search? or a Goodreads search. Let me show you the results. Let's do Harry Potter research on search on Google. You get lots of general information on recent books, but not much in-depth information without a lot of searching. So let's go and do a Harry Potter search on Goodreads. We get a lot of good book information, but we get no video information. And the database is limited to those who input information. Even if I go search for J.K. Rowling's name, the author of Harry Potter, of course, I get a lot of pretty pictures, but I would have to dig for a list of her books and movies. The same is true if I drill down into her own site. Still a little bit hard to find books and movies as an aggregate, as an overview. So why not Amazon? Well, here's the Harry Potter search for Amazon. Lots of good information on books for sure, but it's consumer oriented. It isn't research oriented. Amazon lets you see a lot of movies or a lot of books, but they are in separate searches and you can't easily cross-reference. Those databases don't seem well integrated, and Amazon focuses only on sales and not much on research or analytics. If we go over to IMDb, which is also owned by Amazon, we will see a lot of movie data and we'll see some information about people, but again, we'll see very little information about books to movies. So what can you see at a glance on Books N Flix? Here you go. When I search for Harry Potter, I immediately get all of the books made into films, and here are all the films listed. And at the bottom again, you will get a total. And then you can refine that search by publisher or other criteria, which we'll show you later. But you can also back up and get an aggregate view of the market. I found it interesting that when we pulled this graph, that the peak of book releases was done in 2008. Kind of interesting information. So search Books N Flix for Harry Potter is quick. All I did was toggle this button on, and this is on by default. I check a category, I add a few filters, and the result is no clutter, no ads, just deep information about one title or an aggregate. The data is merged from trusted sources, sources that you already know and trust. Before we see some more demos, our team members will explain the reliability and the scope of the project. How deeply can Books N Flix go? Well, we will become more and more sophisticated over time, adding more features and more book inventory. Currently, the data focuses on US titles in English and Latin-based languages. We are still ingesting millions of titles, as I said, and so the searches are somewhat limited at this time. Ben, I'd like for you to explain the uniqueness of the database and show us more about what Books N Flix can do.
All right, so I wanted to talk about how the Books N Flix system is the only database that has a specific focus on the relationship between books and movies. So our search system has been tailored to answer very complex questions about the effects that different variables such as author, publisher, genre, movie studio, and more can have on film adaptations of books. Books N Flix allows you to search for information on just a single title or create an advanced query using parameters for both books and movies. These advanced searches include a customized graph to visualize the data and make it easier to spot trends and outliers. So I'm going to jump on over here. So we're going to take a look at an example here of some of the movie searches we can do. So let's take a look at historical information about movies first. So I want to see which genres have the most movies in the past 5 years. So I'll set the filter to January 2015 to December 2019 and submit a search. And then we're going to scroll past these individual results here. And we'll see the graph at the bottom. We'll set the view by date here to movie genre, and then refine it by number of movies. And once those results pop up, we can see that drama has the most movies in it, followed by comedy and action. But which of these movies are getting the biggest budgets? So I can change the refine by here from the number of movies to movie budget. And there we go. And we can see that while there are far more drama movies being made, they're really not getting half the budget of action movies or even sci-fi. So anecdotally, there have been a number of blockbuster superhero and sci-fi franchises that would probably inflate the budgets of these genres, and the data here supports that anecdote. So while you're more likely to get a dramatic manuscript made into a movie, you're probably going to be on a much tighter budget and receive a smaller return than if you were to set that same drama in space. So let's jump on to our next one here. So let's drill down to a specific genre. So we'll search the same time period and enter drama in the drop-down box here. And you can't see it through this presentation. Just switch into drama. Let's see, and then let's do the search on the graph. Get down past the individual results. We're going to refine that, set the view by to studio, and we're going to refine by number of movies. So the graph that appears will show a list of all the movies that have been released as dramatic films. So all the studios have released dramatic films, and from that graph we can see Headgear Films has a lot of movies in that category. A lot of name brands are not showing up nearly as high. Now if we switch to movie budget, we'll see really that Headgear, even though they're the biggest spender, it's really not by much more than these other studios. So we can use this information not just to look at how many movies were published, but which studio is really focused on quantity over quality. So we could then maybe make a decision based on a studio's output or their expected budget per film. All right, so let's get really specific, and we can use this search tool just to focus on one movie studio. So we're going to search here for Paramount in the studio filter and hop on down to the chart once that search is generated. So let's take a look at that movie genre chart again. So this time it's just data on Paramount, and the chart shows that the studio has a lot of focus on action, comedy, drama, and science about evenly in terms of releases. So you can see about 17 or 18, I think, for each of those categories there, so pretty much even. So now we're going to switch over to the movie budget graph, and we can see that those same categories, action, adventure, and sci-fi, are the ones that are really getting most of the budget. So those ones that's really focusing, the studio's really focusing on those ones, even though they have more movies, they're focusing more budget there. Looking at the gross revenue, so now we can see the budget versus gross revenue on one graph, and we can see they're really getting their return on the action, adventure, and sci-fi genres. And even though drama had the same number of movies as those two categories, it definitely has a much smaller return. All right, and there is a whole lot more.
A lot more.
But we have to switch out here.
Yeah. Okay. And here's Robert. He discusses the challenges of project development. Robert with JMR Digital.
Hello everybody, I'm Robert, owner of JMR Digital Solutions. We provide publishing and digital solutions. We are based in South India. I've been working with Doris for more than 8 years now. Wow, unbelievable. When she mentioned about the project, I was excited to be part of her dream project. There are millions of books and movies available online, but they are on separate websites. To know the books which are made into movies, there are not many websites which provide this information. This is a challenging and complex project where we need to fetch information from various sources. When fetching data from sources, we found there are titles which are either repeated or the related details are not available. We want to keep the end user interaction simple with multiple search options, and it is a great challenge for us to graphically represent the search results without duplicates and to provide accurate data. My thanks to my programmer Mahadevan and to my team members in helping us to complete this project. Lastly, I am thankful to Doris for giving me an opportunity to work on this project. Thank you, everybody.
Well, the nature of Books N Flix content is that it's granular level, cross-reference, ties movies and books together, and historical. We have books from the 1800s and movies since the talkies, and it's quantitative. Those graphs help us understand the information that we're getting. Books N Flix has 15 cross-reference search criteria. There they are. I won't read them all. So where else can you go in the industry for research? Well, Statista, Bookstat, Nielsen, AAP all come to mind, and those are all good sources, but the information is different. The shortcomings, some of the shortcomings are cost, lack of integration, timelines that are short or missing, and sometimes a cluttered environment. It just costs a bunch for big data. Statista charges up to $9,000 a year. Bookstat will only work with publishers of revenues of over 10 million. Nielsen PubTrack charges $2,500 in annual subscriptions, and the AAP's reports are also expensive. They give us good sales and ranking information, or as good as it gets anyway, and it gives us a lot of company revenues and also consumption patterns. But Books N Flix is designed specifically for the little guy. It's subscription-based, easy to use. The first searches are free. The more you know, the greater your market advantage. And we hope that you will discover the many benefits of adding Authorlink Books N Flix to your decision-making process.